Hi everyone, welcome to the Mighty Trades channel. My name is Johar. Today is April 10th and welcome to another episode of Global Market Analysis. So let's take a quick look at first the major commodities to understand how inflation is going to pan out over the next couple of months. So starting with the Brent crude oil. So it's trading at 100 to $102. So there was a correction over the last 2 weeks. So that's a good sign, but still, as long as it stays above $100, it's not a good thing for the market. It needs to come down towards 85, 90 ranges for the market to take it more positively. As of now, this is still not a very great sign. It could potentially move up to its all-time high levels over here of $150 very easily. Looking at other um uh, looking at other global cues, let's take a look at how the US dollar is doing compared to the rupee. So it has corrected over the last 3-4 weeks. That's a good sign. I think the FIS did some buying over the last 2 weeks, which was good, but it's still above, it's still close to its very close to its all-time high levels at 75. So any move above 76 and 76.50 rupees is going to be very negative for the market. It's basically a sign that money is going out from India to the US. And this can clearly be seen by looking at the global US dollar index when compared to the 6 or 7 major currencies like the euro, the pound, the Japanese yen, etc. So even though the Indian rupee is holding up quite strongly, the other global currencies are not, right. At a global level, the US dollar moved up by by close to 1.3% last week. So again, not a good sign. That means that money is being pulled out of other emerging markets apart from India right now. India is somehow able to keep its rupee still pretty strong because we have a lot of forex reserves, but there are other countries like you might see Sri Lanka, etc., who are going through a terrible forex crisis. So money is getting pulled out from there. So US dollar is very close to its all-time high of 103. So any move above $100 is potentially not good for the global markets at all. Now let's take a quick look at the global markets of other countries. Let's look at the US first. If you look at Dow Jones, it's been consolidating for the last 3 weeks in this very tight range between 35,400 and 34,400. So on a 1,000 point range has been consolidating. If you look at the broader S&P 500, that's also been consolidating for the last 3 weeks. And if you look at Nasdaq has moved down by quite a lot last week by 3.6%. So growth stocks or IT stocks aren't doing that well. But it's largely been consolidation. People are just waiting and watching what's happening. If we look at the US VIX, that is, I think, the most positive chart right now because the VIX has crashed over the last 4 weeks. That means I think people have digested this whole war situation that's happening right now, and people are sort of content with the fact that this is going to keep happening. Now, I think the biggest concern is going to be inflation. We need to find a way to bring inflation under control, especially in the US, because if US has very high inflation, that could lead to a drastic increase in interest rates, which could lead to a further recession out there, or which can affect global markets very badly. If we look at the European markets, then let's look here. The French market went down by 2% last week. The German market also went down by 1% last week. So largely consolidating here again in the last 3 weeks, the German market. The UK market moved up by 1.75%. It's very close to its 52-week high right now. It's a good sign that the UK is moving up. And interestingly, if you look at the Russian market has also been consolidating since 3 weeks. It's recovered quite a bit of its losses that it went through in the beginning of February when they announced their special military operation. If you look at other Asian markets, then Japan has been on a downward trajectory since February of last year, and same thing seems to be continuing. Hong Kong is also in the same zone. It's been in a downward trajectory since 2018 itself. And the other global markets are really not that relevant. This chart that you're seeing here, this is the chart of the Turkish market. The Turkish market is moving up very strongly. It's at its all-time high right now of 2395 rupees. Why is the Turkish market moving up? I have no idea, but it's just a chart I track, um, for my own knowledge to understand what's happening globally in other markets as well. Now let's take a look at our own Indian markets. Let's take a sector-wise view first, and then we'll move over to Nifty. So small cap index, the top 100 small cap stocks doing very well, very strong closing, moved up by 2.69%. Mid caps doing even better, moving up by 3.6%. So mid caps and small caps doing extremely well. Metal stocks are doing extremely well. Metal index is at its all-time high right now, so metals is definitely very strong. Bank Nifty doing okay, not that great, but consolidated largely for the most of the week in between this price of what is this close to 39,000 and 37,800 odd levels. So private bank and everything is pretty much the same, but PSU banks did extremely well last week. They moved up by 3.9%, close to a 4% move. So definitely some good things happening in PSU stocks. IT index moved down, not that strong. FMCG moved up quite strongly, moved up by 4.39%. So keep FMCG stocks in your watch list. Media stocks consolidated largely over the last 2 weeks. Even last week they consolidated. Infra stocks also moved up. So 2% move here, 2% and above move here last week. So that's also doing well. Real estate index consolidated. Auto index had a good week last week, moved up by how much is this? 2%. So auto stocks also picked up, but still that needs to break this 11,000 point zone for it to turn bullish. Energy stocks also doing extremely well. Energy index also at its all-time high. You might have seen Tata Power made some really big moves last week. So energy stocks are doing great. Consumption index also did great. And finance largely consolidated with a negative bias. If you look at pharma also moved up but largely consolidating over the last 3-4 weeks. Now, if you look at the entire broader market, which is the Nifty 500, then it moved up by 1.69%, which is a good sign. However, if you look at Nifty largely consolidated in this range with a slight negative bias. So some selling pressure can be seen in Nifty. FIIs turned net sellers again last week. So there is some selling pressure that's come back into Nifty. However, Indiavix again is at very low levels. If it goes below 15, that means everything is hunky dory in the market. It's still a little volatile, but this is a very good sign that the Indiavix has come down. If we look at Bitcoin has moved up, has moved down this week, has moved down by close to 8%. So why has it moved down by 8%? Not sure. Maybe investors are on a risk off mode right now, but it's largely been consolidating in this price zone since the last 3 months now. This entire range of 46,000 and 33,000, that's where it's been consolidating in. So any breakout above this zone will take it higher, but right now Bitcoin does not seem to be showing any bullish momentum. So largely the view is that the markets have been consolidating. Volatility across the markets has been going down. So everyone's digesting the news. Right now on the Russia-Ukraine front also, I think not much is happening. Negotiations aren't moving anywhere. Russia is currently reconsolidating its army, etc. So there isn't any major offensive happening right now. Oil prices also come down a little bit, which is also I think sort of calming the market down, but needs to go below $100 for us to be really calm about the situation. But as of now, it's largely consolidating, and I think next week also we might consolidate only. But next week we might be with consolidating with a more slightly negative bias. because there's a lot of inflation worries coming out, and from next week onwards the results season will start. So if results of our top companies don't come out well, then that could lead the market towards a downward spiral. However, if our banking industry comes out with good results, then could really help the market stabilize across the next couple of weeks. So that's the view on the market. Hope you enjoyed watching the video, and thank you for watching.